News 19 is on your side this morning, helping answer some of your legal questions for free. Joining us right now is Robert Ricard of Ricard and Protopappas, LLC. Very good morning to you, Robert. Thank you for being with us.
Thank you.
First, let's just get the easiest question out of the way. How do you choose a lawyer?
Well, it's one thing you want to do is whatever you have, whatever issue you're facing, make sure the lawyer that you're choosing is someone who's experienced in that area. And typically you're going to get to a lawyer through friends, family, acquaintances. You're going to be talking about, I have this issue, and someone's going to say, go see this lawyer, and that's a great way to find a lawyer. The next question, though, is when you're talking to the lawyer, if it's a tax issue, make sure they're a tax lawyer. Not every lawyer handles everything. If it's a huge business piece of litigation, make sure the only cases that they haven't done are car wrecks on Main Street.
Right.
Because you don't want you to be the client guinea pig for a lawyer learning how to try his first case on your case. You want someone experienced in whatever your problem is.
Absolutely not. Great advice there. Not all lawyers are the same. They study different areas.
That's right. I mean, there's so many, like we don't do tax law, we don't do family law.
Right.
And if someone called me about that, I'd send them to one of my friends that does. And that's what you want to ask, is those key questions. Have you handled this kind of matter before? How much experience do you have? And not guarantee anything, but what's it going to cost me? How long is this going to take? And what's the expected outcome?
Okay, now we do have a question from one of our viewers. Why don't we go ahead and take a listen to it?
Okay, if I could ask a lawyer a question, I would ask them, let's say I had gone out to dinner with some of my friends and had 2 beers, and I'm driving home and my tail light's out, so the cop pulls me over, and then he smells beer on my breath and asks me to do a breathalyzer. Do I have to take the breathalyzer, or can I actually refuse?
What a great question.
Yeah, I'm sure that's something that people commonly wonder or run into.
That's right. Just real quickly, the first thing that's going to happen in that situation is the law enforcement officer is going to pull you over. They're going to ask for your driver's license and registration. More than likely, before they ask you to do a breathalyzer test, they're going to ask you to do what's called field sobriety test. Those are the touch your nose, walk a straight line.
Right.
You can actually refuse those. And you can, to answer her question, you can refuse a breathalyzer. If you refuse those field sobriety tests, I'll guarantee you're going to get a free ride down to the county jail. But that hurts the officer in building his case if you do think you've had too much to drink and drive. Of course, if you've had too much to drink and drive, don't drive.
Right.
But if you're in that situation, you have the option to refuse the officer, but you will be arrested. Just hand him your driver's license and your registration. Say, I'm not going to take your test. And when you get down to the jail, you can refuse the breathalyzer. But in South Carolina, that is going to result in an automatic suspension of your driving privileges.
Okay.
So that's something to factor in. But again, if you've had a few cocktails, you might have lost track, and you might blow a little higher on the breathalyzer than you think you will.
Call a taxi.
Call a taxi.
Save
or call
yourself
a friend.
some trouble.
That's exactly right.
Now, you said that you would have your license suspended if you refused. How long is that suspension for?
So if you refuse, I believe it's 6 months now in South Carolina, and
So
you can get what's called a temporary driving restricted license from the DMV, which allows you to go to school, work, and church, but that's it. And if you get caught outside of that, you're in trouble again, and your license can be taken. And driving under the influence, the penalties stack upon stack upon stack. It's just, for so many reasons, it's a bad idea to drive after you've been drinking.
Okay, thank you so much. What a great question that was.
That was
okay,
a good question.
Here's another one. We received this from a viewer. If I open the doors to a business, I'm employed at an early hour, and I'm not the owner, and someone gets hurt, can I directly be held responsible to that business, for that business? Or is that their responsibility or the business's responsibility?
Well, I think what they're probably asking, if they are the opening employee and somebody gets hurt or something like that, are they personally responsible? Are their assets or whatever at risk? And 99.9% of the time, no. It's going to be the business's responsibility or the business owner's responsibility. If they're just an employee, if they're something more of an employee, if they're a shareholder or a corporate officer, or if they themselves have committed some type of act that has injured somebody, then maybe. But then the run-of-the-mill employee that's opening up a business, whether it's a fast food franchise or a store, the business is going to have insurance there to protect them, or at least it should. You might want to ask the boss. And make sure.
And then just maybe refuse to go in early.
Right.
If that's the case.
And if they don't want to tell you, then you might want to dig a little deeper.
Okay, Robert Ricard, thank you so much for being with us. Ricard and Protopappas.
Thank you.
You gonna stick around for a little while?
I'll stick around.
Awesome. And don't go anywhere either, because listen, this evening we want to let you know We are on your side answering your legal questions this evening as well. We're hosting our Ask a Lawyer phone bank from 5 to 7:30. Lawyers from the South Carolina Bar Association will be on hand answering your legal questions for free. Again, that's tonight from 5 to 7:30 right here on News 19. And it's a good night to stay in and make some phone calls because it is going to be raining out there all throughout the evening. It's already raining out there right now, right, Amy?